So, the other day me and my friend challenged each other to create a seed that was a firescales dragonet. And this dragonet had survived the cliff treatment that all firescales went through before perils. And well, these are the two of them, Cripple and Carnage. Cripple and Carnage were our twin brothers from a twin egg that even before their hatching day, lit off a scalding, almost fire-like glow from their egg. Many skywings throughout the kingdom believed that this egg had been cursed by a vengeful animus. Shortly after hatching, the two firescale dragonets were thrown off the same cliff as many before them. But luckily for them, they survived the whole trip down, mostly. They had gotten very injured and may have died from bleeding out if their injuries didn't get cauterized by the heat of their own scales. After causing a large forest fire purely by accident, they hid within a mountain cave. Cripple has less dire injuries compared to Carnage, and he did most of the hunting and foraging for the two of them when he was little, since Carnage was hurt the worst out of the two of them. Cripple had gotten very good at working around his brachial plexus injury by holding up his wings with his tail, and often hunts using similar tactics to that of a crane. Unlike Carnage, Cripple is adverse to most textures, and dislikes touching almost everything except his own brother. He's often nervous about where his wings are at any given moment, since he's lost feeling in them entirely. Carnage, appropriately named, was hurt the worst out of the two of them, boasting a lost wing, arm, and half a regrown tail. During his recovery, he tinkered with rocks and carved himself a peg leg and a new set of claws. He is now quite adept at tinkering with the materials that won't immediately burst into a pile of ashes and flames in front of him, and is trying to create a system of heat-resistant items to make the lives of his family easier. Did I mention they have a family? They do. A few years ago, after they were tossed out, the two of them met a mudwing, well, a couple of mudwings. One of such was a red acre named Witch. He and his sibs began to regularly visit the two of them, and would often bring foods or odd materials for the boys. Witch even jokes that they are his second sibs. Shortly after they became comfortable with one another, a 2-month-old dragonet was thrown off the reject cliff. It was discovered by Carnage. Turns out this little pink dragonet was unsuccessfully hidden from the queen, who promptly took one look at its odd-colored self in order to be thrown off the cliff as well. Luckily, he was slightly more coordinated than a newborn, and managed to slow his fall enough to land only a bonk on the head and a few scratches. He was promptly named Pinky after his light, clearly baby pink scales. They live as secret as they can, though now that they are older, it's much harder to throw any of them off a cliff without much trouble. So they may have beefed with a couple of soldiers and won. But that's for another day. This was like my first ever speed paint voiceover, so if y'all would like this, please let me know, because I would love to get input on how to improve the videos like this one.